friends. Welcome to our evening yoga session. I'm going to wait for a few more people to sign in. Move my yoga cat out of the way. For those of you who haven't met Sherman, this is my white whale, Sherman. He tends to join me on our evening yoga sessions. Tonight we are going to do a very slow flow class. If you've ever attended a yin class in a studio, this will be very similar. We are going to hold our poses for upwards of 2-3 minutes. If ever that gets to be too much, simply back out of the pose and take a comfortable seat or come into child's pose. So we will get started in just another minute. If you are just joining us, welcome to the Tuesday evening this week. Things were moved around a little bit, so we are meeting here tonight on a Tuesday. I thank you all for joining me. My name is Patty. I will be your yoga instructor this evening. I'm just going to come into a comfortable seat as we get started. You're welcome to sit cross-legged. I am sitting on a yoga block. If you do not have a yoga block at home, you can sit on a pillow, a couch cushion. I know people that have robbed the couch cushions for class. If you have a blanket nearby, you can fold that up to raise your hips a little bit higher to make space in your body for your cross-legged seated position. So as we work through our postures this evening, we're going to take things nice and slow. This will be a very relaxing class. This is going to release hopefully a lot of stress, a lot of tension. A lot of the poses this evening, we're going to work our shoulders, our back, even our hips, that you may not realize you're carrying stress and anxiety in the bottom half as well. Oftentimes we carry that stress and anxiety in our shoulders and our back. So we're going to work a little bit of all those muscles, all those sticking points to release some of that stress and tension. I know this week may have some challenging emotions for some folks, and we are in challenging times right now. So we're just going to take it nice and slow this evening. We're going to settle into our poses for a few minutes at a time. And again, if you are just joining us, welcome. If a pose ever becomes too much for your body, simply back out of that pose. Come back into a seated position, come into child's pose, whatever works best for you. I'm also because we are in our poses a little bit longer, I'm going to do a little bit of reading tonight as well. I worked through a book, Meditations from the Mat. This is by Rolf Gates. And it reads very much like a daily devotional if you wanted to tackle it in that regard, or it's broken up into sections. But because we're in our poses for a little bit longer, I'm going to try and distract you in a good way with some food for thought this week as we calm our mind and our body, ease our stress and some of our tensions. So if you're not already in a comfortable seat, go ahead and join me in your comfortable seated position, cross-legged. Take your fingers, if you want to, start them out on your knees and notice how far forward I'm exaggerating. Our body, our shoulders begin to slump. Slowly slide your hands back into your hip creases and notice your shoulders pulling up and back. Notice you sitting a little bit straighter. And go ahead and close your eyes for just a moment as we begin to breathe and settle into our yoga practice for the evening. Just breathing at your natural, comfortable pace right now. Whatever works for you. If you want to do a square breath where you're inhaling for 4 counts and exhaling for 4 counts, creates a nice, even rhythm. I'm just going to pause for another minute here before we begin moving into some of the postures for the evening. You'll notice that we won't take a lot of poses this evening. We will settle deep into those poses, however. So go ahead and take a deep breath in, inside out. Another big breath in, inside out. Another big breath in and out. Continue breathing your own pace, your own breath. You may keep your eyes open or closed if you would like. And from our book this evening, he says, in yoga, we learn to stay with the posture, to hold the posture. Difficulty, discomfort, fear, boredom, distraction. The entire gamut of thoughts and emotion arises. And we simply observe these comings and goings. We learn to use what comes up to inform the present posture and to help us in the postures to come. There is liability in this ethos, however, thanks to our no pain, no gain Puritan heritage. If you're sitting on a block or a cushion or a bolster, go ahead and remove that. We're going to take legs up the wall. This is going to help calm the nervous system. This is an inversion. So come onto your back. If you have a strap, I'll show you the modification. You can strap around your feet, use that strap, and just slightly pull down on that strap. Your arms are now on the ground, offering a bit of resistance. You certainly can take this pose without the strap as well. But just allow your back body to settle into the earth. Your feet are flexed up towards the sky. And settle in for legs up the wall. If ever a pose feels difficult, back out just a hair, maybe loosen that hold on the strap. Breathe in to your body. continue to follow your breath throughout these poses. Focusing on your breath and your body begins to calm the mind. And if you have a strap, go ahead and release your feet down to the ground. We're going to stretch out long. Legs are out long. Arms are alongside. We're going to take banana pose. So you're going to make a little C. Your arms come out to the right. Your legs come out to the right. I got a block in my way here. And you're stretching the left side of your body. So you look like a banana. Again, another calming pose. Stretching out that side body, releasing our tensions from our fingertips, through our shoulders, through our hips, and our feet. A few more breaths as we stretch to the right, allowing space and awareness into our body. Slowly begin to move back to center. Take a nice big stretch here. Arms up overhead. And then we're going to make that banana C shape over to the left. So arms reach to the left, legs reach to the left. We're bent like our banana. This time stretching our right side body. Breathing in to our back, into our shoulders, our waist and our hips, where we carry so much tension and weight throughout the day. Bring in deep cleansing breaths. Exhale. Let it all come out. And from here, you're slowly going to make your way up to a seated position. Arms will be alongside. Feet will be stretched out in front of you. Toes are flexed. Arms lift up just for a moment to create space in your core, in your chest. And then we're going to hinge forward into a seated forward fold. Again, if you have a block, you can put that behind your flexed feet. You can use a yoga strap, or you certainly can just hang out in your seated forward fold. So from our reading, he goes on to say, the hardworking, well-intentioned yoga student often believes that nothing less than 100% gonads to the wall effort will do. The fallout from this misconception can be injury, but more often it is simply bitterness and blame. We may blame our teachers for teaching too hard a class, but more often we will blame ourselves for simply not being better than we are. On good days, we feel the elation of living up to our expectation. The bad days are fraught with frustration and failure. Caught in this negative cycle of judgment and evaluation, we find ourselves at best blocked from most nourishing aspects of yoga, and at worst, unable to sustain our practice. Defeated, we give up and move on, believing we have failed and that yoga is not for us. Go ahead and come into your forward fold just a touch more, reaching a little further, releasing that tension in our low backs. Lower your head towards your knees just a touch more. We're still in our seated forward fold. If this is too much on your legs, your hamstrings, soften your knees a little bit. Come out of the pose just a touch, releasing that back. Listen to your body. This is your practice this evening. There's always so much room for reflection in this stillness that you've created on your mat. As you sink a little further into your pose, become in tune with your body a bit more with each passing breath. Slowly rise out of this posture. Head, chest, torso lifts up. And we're going to transition to hands and knees. Slowly, graciously, allow your body to feel its way Pause here for a minute. We're going to come into melting heart. So your legs are going to remain bent on hands and knees. Tops of the feet are on the floor. Forearms are going to come down to the ground. This is going to open our chest and our shoulders. We're going to lower our heads. And as we do so, our heart melts into the earth. And if you find this is too much, try that block or pillow that you have nearby. You'll still get that softening in your chest as it sinks down into the earth. This is great on the shoulders, the upper back, where we carry so much tension and weight throughout the day. We come into this pose and soften our heart and let go of what's been eating away at us. This is a good posture to just sigh it all out here into the earth. And remember to listen to your body. If this becomes too intense, pop into child's pose for a moment. Listen to your body. Honor your muscles. So we continue with our reading by saying there is another way. We need to learn to make rest a part of our practice, and we need to take that rest long before we feel exhausted or frustrated. Beginners can rest and regroup in child's pose, taking a few calming breaths before moving on to the next posture. If you begin to think of rest periods as an active part of your practice, you will stay in tune with what your body is telling you and act accordingly. So fall a little more deeply into this rest. If your forehead is on the ground, or a block or a pillow, soften your face. Relax those muscles. Relax your jaw. Allow your head to fall heavy into the earth. Allow the weight of your shoulders and your upper back to come into those forearms and into your hands, giving your shoulders a break. With each inhale, feel the expansion of your ribs, your upper back, your mid back, your low back. And as you exhale, the heart melts even further into the mat with just an ever subtle movement. Just a few more breaths. And then slowly begin to rise to tabletop. Pausing to listen to your body before we come to a seat onto our bum. We're going to take butterfly pose. Knees come out wide, soles of our feet come together. Again, if this is going to scream to your hips, take a block and allow your legs to rest, to fall on that block. You can put one on either side of your thighs. Gently grab your feet. And just slight resistance with your elbows out onto your thighs, to your knees, into your butterfly pose. This is a posture of rest. We're not flapping our wings anxiously trying to fly away. We're allowing them to sink and to settle and to fall into this pose. This is allowing our hips to relax, our low back, sinking into our sit bones. Having our front, our core, our belly do some of the work. We continue on. Intermediate students can learn to rest in the posture itself. This is an important concept. We enter a posture, the heat builds, and long before we want to get the heck out of dodge, that is one option, retreat. But another option is just back off a little within the posture. Rest for a breath or two, and then see if you can deepen the pose. See if there's any more openness in your hips to release your knees towards the floor. Gentle release here. If you have a block or a pillow under your knees and your hips, perhaps try removing that and see how the posture feels, if this pose is any different. And just try it for a breath or two. See how it feels when you mix it up a little bit. Now release your left leg and send it out long. Right leg will remain bent. This will be half butterfly. Left toes are flexed, facing forward. You can lift your arms up overhead and stretch before we come down to reach towards our left foot. Again, if it's too much, On your left hamstring, your straight leg. Bend your knee ever so slightly. Back out just a touch if you're hinged at the waist a bit too far. We're going to feel this release in our low back, in that right hip. You'll feel that right hip fall open a little bit more. Your knee may fall to the earth a touch more as you're in your half butterfly here. Your head may hang heavy above your left knee. And just settle in for a moment. Breathing into your back body, into your hip creases. And exhaling out through the crown of your head towards the tip of your toes. Keep with your breath, your body, what feels comfortable to you this evening. Slowly begin to rise back up to tall back. Bring your left leg in to bend. Right leg kicks out straight. Toes are flexed. Arms reach up overhead. Hinge slightly forward at the waist. Come down to half butterfly. Your left leg remains bent. Your head lowers towards your right knee. Forearms can rest on the ground. Half butterfly on the other side. Again, if your hamstrings are tight, your back is tight, rise up ever so slightly. Remember not to lock out your straight leg. Your knee can have some flex in it, just a little bit. As we breathe deeply here, falling into our breath, deepening our pose, releasing our tension, and settling in for just another moment. Few more breaths. Allowing to deepen our pose. Listen to how your body feels this evening as we settle into our poses for just a touch longer. Begin to rise up, straight back. We're going to transition into sleeping swan. It's a little bit, if you're familiar with half pigeon, you can come onto hands and knees for a minute. Right leg is going to bend towards the short edge of your mat. Left leg extends out long. If you need a block or a pillow, it can come under your right hip to support that hip. And you're going to hinge forward all the way to the ground. So again, if you have a pillow or another block nearby, you can rest your forehead on. Your forearms are going to be flat on the ground. Your chest is going to fall heavy towards the earth. And your forehead, if you can, will come to your mat. Sleeping swan. Right leg is bent. Left leg is straight out towards the back of us. Again, breathing into our back body, into our hips. If you need that pillow or that block for support under your right hip, under your right butt. This is a great pose to release tension in your shoulders, in your back, in your hips. Just breathe into your pose. As your heart softens towards the earth. If this becomes too intense, you can lift up to tall arms. You can use your block. You can use your pillow. You can stack your fists and still allow your head to fall heavy in that posture of sleeping. If you don't have a block or a pillow nearby, stacked fists work just the same. It's allowing your body to fall heavy into this pose. Releasing some of that weight, some of that tension we've carried throughout the day. Go ahead and come up to tall arms. Briefly come onto hands and knees. We're going to transition and take sleeping swan on the left. So left leg is going to come bent. Right leg will stay straight out long. We're going to stretch forward towards the earth on our forearms. Head will fall towards your mat, towards a block, onto stacked fists. We're going to take sleeping swan, bent left leg this time.
may notice one leg carries different tension than the other. A pose may feel different on one side than the other. And that's okay. Honor your body. Listen to your body. If something doesn't feel right, you may back out of your pose. Come up to tall arms. Lift your head. You do you this evening. If ever a pose gets to be too much, remember you can pop into child's pose. Try to come back to your breath and focus on your breathing. Breathing deeply into those muscles. Expanding and contracting throughout our breath. Just a few more breaths. Slowly come up to tall arms. Release your left leg. Pause into tabletop, hands and knees, just for a minute. We're going to come into child's pose next. Tips of your big toes come together. Knees are out wide towards the edges of your mat. Sink back towards your heels. Arms stretch out long. Head, chest, and belly release to the earth. Saddle in to your child's pose. We will be here for a few moments. So allow for silence, stillness into your body as you breathe into this posture, melting your heart towards the earth with each exhale. This pose allows for such deep breaths. Nice big inhale, filling up the lungs. Exhale out. And stretch just a little bit further. Expanding into your back body as you breathe. Forehead's on the mat. Chest sinks towards the mat. Belly expands because your knees are out wide, making room for that breath, that nice belly breath. If you practice Ujjayi breath, this is a great pose for that rhythmic ocean breath. The rise and fall of your chest and your belly. Nice deep breath. See if you can allow your heart to drop a little bit closer to the earth as you exhale through your belly. Listening to the rhythm of your breath. As you melt into your mat, just a little bit more. Slowly rise to tabletop. And come onto your bum in a comfortable seat. We are going to take half cow face. So this might be new for some of you. You're going to keep your left leg bent right in front of you like you're going to take crisscross applesauce. The right leg is going to come over your left knee. So your right foot lands on the floor, and you're going to gently hug your right knee in towards your chest. So there's a slight twist here, stretching in our hips and our legs. This is another tension release through our legs. All through the side body on your right side, through your hips, through your thighs, through your glutes. Sitting up tall. All the while releasing your left hip, which remains on the ground. Gently release your right leg. Allow your bent right knee
to fall to the earth. Left leg is going to stretch over your right knee. Left foot comes to the earth. And gently hug your left leg in towards your chest. Half cow face on the left, stretching through your left thighs, your hips, your glute. Opening your right hip as it sinks towards the earth, remaining on the ground. Back is strong, tall, chest is lifted, allowing your breath to come in and out. As we are in our half cow face pose. Gently release your left leg, spinning it around to the side, lowering onto your back, legs lift into the air, bent at 90-degree angle, lower bent knees out to the right, gaze looks over the extended left arm for a supine twist. Stretching through your side body, stretching out those hips, your core, your back, even your shoulder and your neck as your gaze is out long. Gently raise your knees back to center. Keep them bent at a 90-degree angle. Left hand comes to the outside of your right knee. Knees fall to the left. Right arm comes open. Gaze looks out over your extended right arm. Supine twist on the other side. This is a lovely stretch at the end of the evening of a long day. Stretching our legs, our hips, our side body, our neck as we look out over our outstretched arm. Your knees fall heavy to the earth. Gently bring your knees back to center. Take the palms of your hands, grab the outside of your feet, bend your knees, sink down, feet are flexed to the sky. Happy baby. This is going to release your low back,
Get some more stretch in those hips. If you need to straighten one leg out one last time, stretch those hammies one more time. You may. But take a minute for your happy baby. Happy yogi in our pose as we wind down our practice. Gently bring your knees back to center. Wrap your arms around your legs. Give yourself a great big hug. Squeeze it all in. Then release into Shavasana. Legs fall long. Outstretched arms fall heavy alongside your body. And rest in our final pose. Gently begin to bring awareness back to your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Gently roll out your wrists and your ankles. And when you're ready, roll onto the right side of your body, pausing in the fetal position to take a few breaths here. And come up into a comfortable seated position. You may close your eyes or open them. As we reflect our last bit of our evening, Rolf Gates goes on to say, as a young man, I would look in awe at older people around me who could sustain their effort at a job or a project over many years. I didn't realize that these men and women had learned to rest in the posture.
My friends, I hope you are able to rest in the posture this evening, to settle in a little more deeply in each pose, to listen to your body in its restful state. I wish all of you a wonderful, restful week. Thank you all for joining me tonight.
Namaste.
Bye, folks. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.